afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News Roundup, Dateline the 1st of July, 2023. This week's headlines. Iran's president is fully supportive of Putin over the Wagner rebellion. An Iraqi soldier and 3 suspected IS fighters were killed in an army raid in Kirkuk. The Iran protests. Mother of Nika Shakarami tells of her anguish. A Qur'an was burnt outside a mosque in the Swedish capital. Protesters stormed the Swedish embassy in Baghdad. Turkey's fury over the Swedish Qur'an burning risks further delays to their Nato bid. Unmarried mothers' repatriations. I should never have been in Ireland. MPs are to debate the role of the bishops in the House of Lords. A bold nude protest desecrated the Vatican. And dancing in church. Russian President Vladimir Putin has held a phone call with the fully supportive Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi. The President of Iran expressed his full support for the Russian leadership in view of the events of 24th of June, the Kremlin statement says, referring to the Wagner rebellion. Iran has denied supplying drones to Russia for the war effort in Ukraine after being accused by President Volodymyr Zelensky of supplying Moscow with kamikaze drones used in deadly attacks. The US claims Iran is now Russia's top military backer. An Iraqi soldier was killed and an officer wounded during a counter-terrorism raid in Iraq that also killed 3 suspected Islamic State group fighters, Baghdad's security forces said. Sunday's military operation in Kirkuk province, north of the Iraqi capital, targeted 3 figures of the terrorist group Daesh in the Turkish region, the security forces said in a statement. After the suspected IS members were identified, Iraqi troops approached and a clash erupted late on Sunday. The jihadists were surrounded and killed. The explosive belts they were wearing were detonated, they said. The mother of a 16-year-old girl allegedly beaten to death by security forces during protests in Iran has spoken of her continuing heartache. In an exclusive interview that appears in a BBC documentary, Nasreen Shakarami says she cannot forget for a second what happened to her daughter Nika. Nasreen was speaking to actress Zahra Amir Ebrahimi, who fled Iran in 2008. Nika was one of the most high-profile deaths during protests in late 2022. The protests have continued since then, though have become much less intense due to a bloody crackdown by security forces. The unrest began after the death in custody of Mahsa Amini, a young woman who died after she was detained by morality police in the capital for allegedly violating Iran's strict rules requiring women to cover their hair with a hijab or headscarf. 4 days after Mahsa died, Nika was filmed at a protest in Tehran setting fire to her headscarf. Videos posted online showed Nika standing on a dumpster as she did so, while others are heard chanting, "Death to the dictator," a reference to the supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. In her interview with Zahra Amir Ebrahimi, Nasrin, her mother, says, Nika was concerned about the injustice and discrimination towards Iranians. She used to think about it a lot. She was extremely adventurous and fearless. I was always worried about how bold she was. I was always afraid that something would happen to her. Nasreen says she called Nika that day and could hear protesters around her. Swedish police allowed the Qur'an burning protest, attended by about 200 people on Wednesday, the start of the 3-day Eid al-Adha Muslim holiday, saying the security risks were not of a nature to justify, under current laws, a decision to reject the request. The Swedish public broadcaster SVT reported that the event passed off peacefully, saying the man responsible for the demonstration tore pages from the Quran, wiped his shoes with some of them, and burned others, then placed a slice of bacon in the book. Police said the organizer was being investigated for incitement and violating a seasonal ban on lighting fires in Sweden. Media reports named the organizer as Salwan Momika, 37, who reportedly fled to Sweden from Iraq and has denied his intention was to sabotage its NATO application, saying he had considered waiting to stage his protest until after Sweden had joined the alliance. I don't want to harm this country that received me and preserve my dignity, Momika said in April. In his protest application, however, he said he wanted to protest in front of the mosque in Stockholm and express my opinion about the Quran. Dozens of people stormed the compound of the Swedish embassy in Iraq's capital, Baghdad, after a Quran was burned during a protest in Sweden. The Quran burning was condemned by many Muslim-majority countries. A crowd gathered outside the embassy in Baghdad on Thursday after a powerful cleric called for an angry protest. Videos posted on social media appeared to show dozens of protesters walking inside the courtyard. Turkey's foreign minister has criticized the burning of the Quran outside a Stockholm mosque in a demonstration that could further complicate Ankara's long-delayed approval of Sweden's application to join NATO. The protest came as Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan told the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz on Wednesday that Sweden had made some progress, but not enough. The Turkish Foreign Minister, Hakan Fidan, tweeted on Wednesday, "I condemn the vile protest in Sweden against our holy book on the first day of the blessed Eid al-Adha," adding that it was unacceptable to allow anti-Islam protests in the name of freedom of expression. MPs will debate the future of the Bishop's Bench at a Westminster Hall debate on July the 6th. The debate, organised by the all-party parliamentary humanist group, follows recent lobbying from the National Secular Society. Currently, 2 Church of England archbishops and 24 bishops are given seats in the upper house and are able to vote on legislation. Their position grants them privileged access to Parliament, and they are given deferential treatment by other members. Scottish National Party MP Tommy Shepherd, who applied for the debate, spoke about the role of church in Parliament during an NSS event last month. He called the presidents of the church incredibly unrepresentative of the population. He said a debate on the bishop's bench would provide the opportunity to put questions to ministers that they will find hard to answer. The bishop's bench is consistently unpopular with the public. A survey last year found over 60% of UK adults think bishops should have no place in Parliament. In February, writer and broadcaster Sandy Toksvig launched a petition to remove the bishops from the House of Lords, which received nearly 164,000 signatures. Iran is the only other country which has religious clerics in its legislature. In an audacious protest that shook the Vatican, a Polish man stripped naked and leapt onto the main altar of St. Peter's Basilica with "Save Children of Ukraine" scrawled on his back. The incident, which took place as the basilica was closing, prompted Cardinal Mauro Gambetti to perform a penitential rite to atone for the desecration. See this video.
A bold nude protest that desecrated the Vatican. In an audacious protest that shook the Vatican, a Polish man stripped naked and leaped onto the main altar of St. Peter's Basilica with "Save the Children of Ukraine" scrawled on his back. The incident, which took place as the basilica was closing, prompted Cardinal Mauro Gambetti to perform a penitential rite to atone for the desecration. Clad in only black socks and sneakers, the protester was arrested without resistance and later expelled from Italy. This startling event is part of a recent spate of protests and disturbances, including climate activists gluing themselves to statues and a man crashing a car into the Vatican gates that have rattled the holy city-state.
You are the blood in my veins, the water in my teardrops, but I still ache. You are so close, but yet I cannot touch you. Maria Cahill explores the trauma of her early life in poetry. She was 6 weeks old when her mother Philomena was repatriated from Britain to Ireland. Maria was born in London, a British citizen, yet was also sent to one of Ireland's secretive mother and baby homes. They were regarded as places of punishment for sin. Her story raises important questions about a program of repatriations for thousands of unmarried women and girls from the 1930s until the 1970s. Their journey was organized by state authorities and religious charities. Campaigners say that in many cases, the repatriations, which were supposedly voluntary, were forced upon the women. At her home in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, 69-year-old Maria told me, "I should never have been in Ireland. I was born in London. I really wish that journey to Ireland hadn't happened in my life." And this evening's Free Thought Hour was made in South Africa by Tercia, my co-host. I joined in late, so it's it's a bit of a mashup. I'm not sure, in fact, whether she's going to be able to send her files to me because they're having connectivity issues where she is. Anyway, don't forget to watch Views on the News, the program about opinions on the very news that I've just reported. This has been Global Atheist News. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.